Random thoughts on hip and pelvic floor that I'd like. And so, alright, so a few random thoughts on hip and pelvic floor that I'd like to share with y'all. So part of the issue with being bipedal, with moving from like walking on 4 legs to walking on 2 legs, is that there's so much more control of your hips and trunk together that has to happen. And your hips and your pelvic floor share muscles. So when something becomes less effective about the way your trunk moves or about the way your hips move, then it has downstream effects for your pelvic floor, for your abs, for your back, etc. But in my mind, I like to break things into smaller pieces to make it easier to digest and easier to problem solve. And so I like to think of our hip motion as happening in 3 planes: forward and back, side to side, and rotating each way, inward and outward. And so this week and last week, we were talking about understanding a balance between internal rotation and external rotation. And a couple of weeks ago, I shared some information about finding a balance between glute medius on the outside of your hip and the inner thigh adductor muscles on the inside of your thigh. But it's been a while since I talked about the front and back, which honestly is like more basic, but most of us spend our lives moving forward and backward. But it's really the best place to start. So that's my question for y'all. I haven't talked about like balances between glutes and back muscles in the back and hip flexors and abs in the front in a while. And is that something that you would be interested in? I also have lots of ideas on my list to share, but if there's anything else specific, let me know.